The silence is the most terrifying sound. It is the moment after the disaster, the second after the betrayal, the instant the doctor's words sink in, when the world stops spinning and you are left alone with the wreckage of your expectations. In that profound, deafening quiet, most people shatter. Their minds, built on the fragile foundation of comfort and convenience, simply cannot bear the weight of reality. They look for a scapegoat, a distraction, a pill, anything to avoid the stark, cold truth. They are not in control. But what if there was a way to stand in that silence? To look directly at the wreckage and feel not despair, but a profound, unshakable calm? What if the secret to surviving anything was not about controlling the world, but about mastering the single, solitary thing you actually possess? This is not a self-help fantasy. This is a blueprint forged in the crucible of ancient Rome, a philosophy for building a mind that simply refuses to break. We live in an age of unprecedented comfort. Yet we are also an age of unprecedented anxiety. We have outsourced our resilience, believing that if we can just control the economy, the weather, our partner's mood, or the next election, then we will finally be safe. This is the great fatal error of the modern spirit. Every morning we step onto a battlefield where we are hopelessly outnumbered, fighting a war against the universe itself, trying to dictate terms to fate. The Stoics, 2,000 years ago, saw this same human folly, and they offered a single, brutal, liberating truth, the dichotomy of control. This is the bedrock of the unbreakable mind. You must draw a sharp, clean line between what is up to you and what is not. Your opinions are up to you. Your intentions are up to you. Your desires and aversions are up to you. Your actions are up to you. Everything else, your body, your reputation, your property, the actions of others, the outcome of your efforts, is indifferent, outside your sphere of influence. When you internalize this truth, the world instantly shrinks to a manageable size. All the energy you wasted on worry, on wishing things were different, on railing against injustice is suddenly freed. It is a radical act of surrender that paradoxically grants you ultimate power. To understand the sheer, raw power of this idea, you must look at the men who lived it. Consider Epictetus, a man born into the absolute worst position in the Roman world, a slave. His name itself, Epictetus, literally means acquired. He was property, a tool, with no rights, no freedom, and a crippled leg, likely broken by his own master. He had every external reason to be bitter, to be broken, to be a victim of his circumstances. Yet, he became one of the most influential philosophers in history. He taught that his body was a cage, but his will, his faculty of choice, was a fortress. His master could chain his leg, but he could not chain his judgment. He could not chain his ability to choose how he responded to the pain. Epictetus looked at his chains and saw not a limitation, but a profound philosophical laboratory. He proved, with his very life, that freedom is not a political condition. It is a psychological one. The mind of a slave can be freer than the mind of an emperor. Now, consider the emperor himself, Marcus Aurelius, the man whose face is etched into the marble of your thumbnail. He sat at the pinnacle of human power, ruling the largest empire the world had ever known. He had everything the modern world tells us we need for happiness: wealth, power, security, and fame. Yet his life was a relentless siege. He faced the Antonine Plague, a pandemic that wiped out millions, including his co-emperor. He spent the last decade of his life on the cold, brutal frontier, fighting barbarian tribes. He endured the betrayal of his most trusted general. He watched his children die. He was the most powerful man on earth. Yet he was constantly reminded of his own powerlessness over the truly important things. His famous meditations were not written for publication. They were a private, philosophical diary, a series of sharp, punchy reminders to himself on how to maintain his inner fortress amidst the chaos of his reign. He was a man with all the external control, desperately seeking the internal control that Epictetus, the slave, had already mastered. Their lives, one at the bottom, one at the top, stand as a single, undeniable fact. The external world is irrelevant to the strength of your mind, the unbreakable. Mind is not merely reactive. It is proactive. It does not wait for disaster to strike. It invites it in for tea. This is the practice of Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evils. It sounds morbid, perhaps even depressing, but it is the ultimate tool for psychological immunization. Before you begin a journey, imagine the delays, the lost luggage, the rude staff. Before you launch a business, visualize the failure, the debt, the public criticism. Before you tell someone you love them, contemplate the possibility of their sudden, irreversible absence. This is not pessimism. It is a rehearsal for reality. When you have already faced the worst in the quiet sanctuary of your mind, the actual event loses its power to shock and paralyze. Seneca, the great Stoic statesman and playwright, understood this deeply. He wrote that the man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their sting. The mind that is prepared is never surprised. This preparation extends to the most fundamental reality of all. Memento Mori, the reminder that you will die. This is not a call to despair, but a fierce, urgent call to action. Every breath you take is a gift on loan, and the clock is always ticking. The fragile mind avoids this thought, living as if life were an endless rehearsal, always putting off the important work for some mythical, perfect tomorrow. The unbreakable mind embraces it. It uses the certainty of death to clarify its priorities. Will you waste this precious, finite day on petty grievances, on chasing approval, or on things that are outside your control? Or will you dedicate it to the 4 cardinal virtues the Stoics championed? Wisdom, the knowledge of what is good and evil. Justice, acting rightly toward others. Courage, facing fear and adversity. And temperance, self-mastery over your desires. Death is the ultimate stripping away of the indifferent things, leaving only the quality of your character. The journey culminates in the most challenging yet most beautiful of the Stoic principles, Amor Fati, the love of fate. This is where mere acceptance transforms into active embrace. It is easy to accept the good things that happen to you. It is a mark of resilience to merely tolerate the bad. But to love everything that happens, to see every setback, every betrayal, every loss, not as an obstacle, but as the raw material for your own growth. That is the mark of the truly unbreakable mind. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote that what stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle is not a detour. It is the path itself. The universe is not happening to you. It is happening for you. Every moment, good or bad, is precisely what is required to test and temper your spirit. To achieve this level of mental fortitude, you must constantly practice the stripping method. When a situation causes you distress, strip away the layers of your opinion, your cultural conditioning, and your emotional reaction until you see the thing itself, naked and unadorned. Is it a piece of wood? Is it a loud noise? Is it merely a set of words spoken by another person? The distress is never in the thing. It is always in your judgment of the thing. When you strip away the judgment, all that remains is the fact, and facts cannot harm you. This is the essence of philosophical self-retreat. The ability to step back from the frantic, chaotic theater of the world and find the quiet, rational core within yourself. You do not need to travel to a remote island to find peace. You only need 5 minutes to close your eyes and retreat into the perfectly ordered sanctuary of your own mind. The construction of this mindset is a full-time, lifelong endeavor. It is a continuous flow of self-correction, a daily philosophical journal where you hold yourself accountable to your highest ideals. It requires the courage to practice physical self-control, to voluntarily endure discomfort, to remind your soft, modern self that you can survive a little cold, a little hunger, a little inconvenience. This is not about self-punishment. It is about proving to yourself that your happiness is not dependent on external comforts. It is about severing the invisible chains that bind your contentment to things that can be taken away. The mind that survives anything is not a mind that is immune to pain or loss. It is a mind that has been deliberately hardened, not against the world, but against its own irrational fears and desires. It is a mind that knows the difference between a preference and a necessity. It is a mind that has looked at death and decided to truly live. It is a mind that has seen the worst-case scenario and realized that even there, its most precious possession, its capacity for rational choice and virtue, remains untouched. The world will continue to throw its worst at you: betrayal, sickness, financial ruin, and the final, inevitable end. But you, the architect of your own soul, will stand firm. You will not shatter. You will not break. You will simply look at the chaos and say, with the quiet confidence of the Stoic, "This is my material. This is my test, and I am ready. The choice is yours right now. In this moment of reading, will you remain a fragile creature of circumstance, or will you begin the work of building a mind that is truly, magnificently unbreakable? The time for the work is now. The place for the work is within. Begin.